Hi, I'm Adele Arkell and I'm one of the owners of Radio Mexico in St Kilda. I have been doing hospitality venues in Melbourne for the last 25 years. I didn't start off in hospitality, I started off studying psychology, and when I travelled overseas I wound up in Spain and I really realised how much I loved to cook. We've been here for so long now, it feels that I just now am focused on making it like a really reliable, iconic St Kilda venue that people know and love, and that's really my focus now. Team culture is really important because you can't do it on your own. It takes a lot of different skills that make a great venue. So inevitably, it's all about the team and how the team work together. I've got a team of about 30 people, and about half of that team have been solid for 5 to 10 years. A couple of those people have been with me since the beginning of Radio Mexico, and a couple of them have been with me since before that. What's really important to me is that you can build skills together over time. We have like a real knowing around what we're trying to achieve, like intuitive. I couldn't do it without them, and it's what creates the ambience of the venue, that culture between people that really get what I'm trying to achieve. A new staff member tends to automatically see how organised we are. That's a really important thing in creating unstressful work environments. You can only really deal with unpredictable situations when you're organised in the background, when you know where to get things, when you know that enough of something has been prepared for you to go into a busy service. So when you have a busy venue, you've got to be ready to go from 0 to 100, and that's why you have to be organised. So it sets a rhythm to the week which is predictable. That takes a level of stress off a busy restaurant service. When the register rolls run out, we know where to get them. When the change box is low, we know when to top it up. I mean, they're little things, but doing a million little things consistently, habitually, and then you get organisation. There are good people everywhere. Are they good in the restaurant? Are they good in the kitchen? Are they good in a bar? Someone can be really good, but be a terrible fit. I realised that I had to create a set of documents and made very succinct descriptions of the roles. And it really helped us define when we say yes to someone and when we say no. The first thing is to be very, very clear on what you're actually offering and what you actually need. The resume is one thing. It's really just one small piece. And sometimes people can have a huge amount of experience, but it just doesn't work. So that's why in the first week, we're actually looking at things they may not realise we're looking at. The small nuances that really show easy teamwork, good connection, and a resume can never reflect that, ever. One of the questions is, why us? And you get a lot from that answer. So they might say, oh, it seems so fun. And we're like, probably not the right person. We make it look fun, but this is smoke and mirrors. You know, it's actually high pressure and great focus. So I really pay attention to that question. If you set the expectations really well and your values are aligned, you get great people, sometimes different to who you think. Sometimes you get a very young, shy person and you think, oh, they're going to melt in our environment that's so hectic, but then they just stick on task and you're like, yeah, you're the one we need. It's about being open-minded, but also being very clear about what you need. Even before you start hiring, know what the roles are and know what you're really expecting of your staff. Know how to do every job in your restaurant and be willing to do it. I know that's controversial advice. If you can get into any major role in the business, you have a great advantage because your staff intuitively know that you can replace them, you know, and that's very powerful. I clarified a set of behaviours that we expect. One of them is accountability, respect, reliability, self-awareness. I try to be all of those things. I believe in leading by example. I always say to my managers, when you're having problems with somebody, it's very important that you address that problem, but not at that moment. The time and the place is very important when you're delivering expectations. So find the right words and the right place and follow up and be sure that people understand what you're trying to say. You know that you need to hire when there's a bad vibe in the group. When morale starts to be injured, it's something that echoes through the team. It's usually because you need to change the hiring around, or you need more staff, or you need to trim staff. So morale is a big one. It does often indicate that the mix of staff isn't right. It's really important in a kitchen to have diversity, because the diversity gives different points of view. You know, in the classic thing of the male-dominated kitchen, it's just one viewpoint, and it's not enough for everyone to feel comfortable. Sometimes, you know, you need to fire. That's much harder. Hopefully, if you've set the expectations really well from the outset, that's what decreases your need to fire. I mean, I always hope that people have a natural attrition, like they come and they go when they want. You know, I never want anyone to feel tied here. I want staff to feel that they want to work here. We've got a good product. It's a nice restaurant. It's really clean. It's reliable. It's open 7 days. You know, what we produce is lovely. So nobody's embarrassed to be taking it out to tables. You've got to have a product that you're really proud of, that staff can be proud of. When you have people who are good at what they do and enjoy working, it's easier to retain them. But you've got to give them an environment where they feel respected, valued, safe, creative, comfortable, relied upon. People have to have an environment where they're able to bring out their best work ethic. If the environment doesn't permit that ability, and this is a classic in hospitality, the owners have all this ego and they're kind of throwing it around the place and creating these hierarchies where people feel at the bottom of the stack. So you give them a reason to choose you. You can't ever lock anyone in, and if you are locking them in, it's no good. They've got to want to choose you. We always try for people to have the same days off, have a fairly predictable routine, particularly the full-timers, because to be a good worker, you need to have a good life outside of work. They have to balance one another. So it's very important to me that rostering is done with that in mind. Culturally, in Australia, we don't really appreciate our hospitality workers. We don't treat them as skilled people. There's a lot of skill in waitering. If you kind of work in a way where you're showing a great respect for good quality service, people will rise to that bar. I push them. They need to be pushed, and they need to believe that they can be better and learn more and keep getting better. So you want to create an environment so that when you're in trouble, you can lean on people to, you know, step up. If you're doing that to yourself, it'll be the natural ethos of the place. So this is an important point, long game. I always look long, and I'm often prepared to lose in the short term. And hospitality, famously, is a very short game view. One of the best things I did in COVID was to retain all of my international staff. It was very costly, and I put them on short weeks, but enough for them to survive, because I didn't think it was fair that they should have to leave, because they contributed so much. A lot of people have said, oh, you were so great for doing that. And I'm like, well, it's pretty self-interested actually, because the thought of having to get a whole team trained from scratch was just way too big. So that's a good example of overspending for the long game. It's harder to keep training new staff, and the act of training new staff wears down your long-term staff. You want the people who are training people to feel ownership. So that's the payoff with people staying. They can build relationships with each other, you know, good working systems, and that makes their job easier. That's the kind of long game cost effectiveness of it. Nothing makes work more pleasant than knowing you can count on the people you work with, whether they're new, whether they're old. If you have that, it's just gold. I really strive for that.